On December 7 of 2009 I underwent for a routine upper scope and a stent was placed between my liver and pancreas. I developed pancreatitis as a result. I was hospitalized and placed on an 4-pain pump of Dilantin. December 8 I awoke throwing up and in very bad pain. My mother arrived shortly afterwards to spend the day with me. She bathed me and helped me go to the bathroom. At that time, she commented on the color of my urine. I later asked her to push the button on my pain pump because of the amount of pain I was in. I began to drift off. I remember waking up and asking her what year it was. I could hear myself ask this and I could hear her answer. I awoke a short time later and told her that I loved her. The next thing I remember was being surrounded by the most beautiful light that human words can never explain. There were 2 slender beings with me, talking to me. I could not make out any features because the light coming from them was so intense. One was a little shorter than the other was. At that time, I knew exactly who they were. I do not believe that I knew them on this earth. I remember communicating with the light all around me. I knew it was God. I could touch the light and it was communicating emotions and thoughts to me. I have never felt that much love and utter peace. I had this overwhelming understanding that everything was exactly as it was supposed to be. Everything that was or is was just perfect. All communication that was done with no words, it was just understood between us. I began to go through the light, which now I understand why people say they were in a tunnel. The light was all around me. For the entire time I was communicating with it and the 2 beings with me. I remember going through the light towards an end, a brighter spot at the end of the tunnel. I was not afraid, I knew who I was and where I was, like being transported to your childhood home, you remember it. I remember telling God that I wished I had done more for him. Why didn't I do more for you? I was not ashamed and she was not upset with me. I was not being judged. It was a review in a way. I looked up and saw myself as a small child. I was wearing a white frilly dress and bonnet and carrying a basket. I was running, playing, and laughing in the light. The yellow on parts of my dress was being shown on the light all round me, like a prism effect. I remember feeling so proud of the little girl I was watching, I loved her so much. I knew she was me. I became very aware of the fact that I was not attached to a body, I was a soul, the soul of who I am now, and whom I have been for eternity. I remember seeing visions of war and of people suffering. There were African people crying and suffering. This was the point that I asked why I just didn't do more for the world. We kept moving towards the end of the tunnel. The light became very bright at the end and I knew instinctively that if I entered that light, it was heaven, and I heard my mother crying and calling my name. I stopped and looked at the 2 beings and asked if I could go and tell her that I was okay. I knew that she was worried and I just wanted her to know that I was fine. I asked to go tell her and come right back. I remember being told that the choice was mine. As I turned around to go and find her, they told me to tell what I remembered. I thought that was odd as of course I would remember everything and I was coming right back. I remember looking down trying to follow my mother's voice. I walked back, retracing my path through the light and then saw her under me. As soon as I saw her, I was immediately back in my body. When I opened my eyes there were a lot of people in the room and my mother was crying and saying my name. I asked what happened, why the people were there. My mother said I had a seizure, which was not true. I told her and everyone in the room that I was in the light, that I had seen God, and that is when she started crying and told me that I had left her, that I had died. They did CPR for 4.5 minutes. I had no pulse and was not breathing. I did not suffer during my death. It was the most peaceful and beautiful experience of my life. I get to live the rest of my life knowing that there truly is something after this life and it's more incredible than we can ever know.